speaking to the press generally is a scary thing, particularly for channel partners, because they just find it intimidating. They find it difficult.
Christmas this year, we came back from our holidays and found all of our systems encrypted. The lawyers put a gag order on us straight away. We couldn't say anything, we couldn't post anything, we couldn't call anyone. And then the team were getting phone calls from the threat actor. We've got your data, we're going to release it, you better pay up. Kind of threatening behaviour.
They're professional bad guys.
Yes, they are. They're not
amateurs.
Not script kiddies anymore.
Yeah, most people think that once they've been compromised once, that's it. But it isn't really. You're actually on a list for future compromises. When you're in a crisis, your instincts go, what can I do, what can I do, what can I do, what can I do? But the reality is, the die's already cast.
Hi, I'm Austen Clark. I'm going to be your host today. We're putting on a special. This is going to be our crisis management session. We're going to put this episode on follow-up to a conversation we'd had today. We're here in Glasgow with Network Group, and we've got our first day in the bag of our quarterly event. We've got a great audience here, which I'm about to introduce and say thanks very much for joining me here. So, as we build this channel, I'll ask you, if you like the conversation you hear today, please hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, or hit a like. It really helps us building this, and it helps us bring more conversations and entertainment in this channel. So please, leave your comments. It's much appreciated. Yeah, I do tend to go over my words every now and then, but we don't care about it. It is. I like to stumble every now and then. Right, what we're going to do is, with ladies first, Gina Hough from MCC International Limited, PR company.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here.
Well, the reason I'm here is that I've been running a PR agency since 1989 and predominantly working for companies in the channel almost from the start. So distributors, networkers, vendors, resellers, VARs, as they used to like to call themselves in those days, MSPs more like, and it's a favourite of mine. I love it, and I love the people in it, and it matters to me. So when you were inviting me to come along and talk about crisis management for MSPs, I wanted to do that because I've seen so many so stressed and so worried about this, about how to communicate what was going on, particularly to the press. The press, it's not an easy thing. So helping people negotiate that and navigate that, it was a really nice idea, and I was happy to come and
we were delighted. It was such a pleasure to actually speak to you on the phone a couple of times, and then for you to agree to come all the way from, you said you were from Woodchester, come all the way to sunny Glasgow.
Hopped on the plane at Southampton Airport, and it was a doddle. So yes, no, I love Glasgow, so that was no hardship.
Andy Hickman from Ashby Computers from Northampton. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been with the Network Group. It would be really useful to hear that.
3 years now, I think. Okay. This is the third gala that I was supposed to attend the first one, and I broke my ankle.
Oh, not good.
So I couldn't attend the first one.
Go, huh?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
I'm going to get myself out of the car.
Yeah, I fell down the stairs and broke my ankle. And I did actually fall down the stairs. I wasn't pushing.
I break your ankle.
Yeah. But I've been with NG for 3 years. It's been an interesting journey.
And we're going to cover your story about a cyber blackmail ransomware attack. We'll come back. I can hear the deep breath. Oh, there was a bit of... We'll get there. Yeah. We'll get there. So thanks very much for joining us.
No problem.
Ally Hollins-Kirk. If I'd never met you before, Ally Hollins-Kirk, by the way, is the managing director of our company, joint company of Jera IT. So welcome, Ally. Glad to have you here.
Well, thanks for the invite. How are you keeping?
I'm keeping okay. It's funny, I can't remember the last time we met.
Actually, it's probably a couple of weeks ago. I think you've been on the golf course.
I was with the golf course. Golf course, yes. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Ally, and why you're here.
Well, what to add to that? So I'm the MD now of Jera. Jera was formed out of a merger between Clark's and One Stop a few years back. And part of our plan was, how do we split out the roles and responsibilities in the organisation? I got the short straw, I'm the MD, and you got the long straw, and you get to play on the golf course and keep us right. But actually, entertain the audience with your banter on podcasts.
I do like the podcasting. And just to add to that, it's really fascinating getting the opportunity to get three of you onto this episode and hear your feedback. So let's just dive into this. Today we had heard from Gina. You came up to give us some insights around crisis management. Can you tell the audience here what was some of the points that you were raising today? Crisis management sounds dramatic, but you were able to put it in such a way that make it a lot more easier to digest.
I think it's the word, isn't it? Crisis.
Yeah.
And it strikes fear into the heart of most people. It's like a dark art almost. And as a PR practitioner in the channel, I've always said, don't be afraid of speaking to the press and communicating to people, because as long as you're coming from a place of openness and honesty, you have nothing to fear, because if you're telling the truth as much as you know it, then journalists can't go anywhere with that. When you don't, and when the temptation is to draw back or not to want to speak or to try and spin something, they smell that and they'll come for you because of it. There's nowhere for them to do that if you're not doing that. And that's what I say to my clients. It might be a scary thing and you might have to take a deep breath. Let's agree what you're going to say and what you want to say to them before you speak to them. And then if they're trying to push you and if they're trying to make you say things you don't want to say, you don't have to say them. And it really is as basic as that, but it doesn't feel like that, And I found it quite humbling today, actually, because I came along with lots of ideas about, you've got to tell the truth, you've got to be open, you've got to communicate immediately when everything goes wrong. And then I'm speaking to these guys and they're like, well, that's all very well, but when you're told by lawyers or insurance companies you've got to keep stum and you're not allowed to say anything to start with, or the client's trying to stop you from speaking and communicating, sometimes that goes to the wall. And I had not had experience of that in my lofty little PR, position, in that I'm not down in the reeds as much as they are. So I think what's so important about this podcast today is having a little bit of real world experience where people like me can learn from that and realise whilst it's down to me to work out a comms plan of what to say and what not to say and try and give a bit of reassurance and try and keep the press at bay, I've got to respect the fact that it isn't an ideal world and we can't always do it. What I would say is what is better now is because it's happening so much, the terrible fear and shame that maybe was there before, people are like, well, it's happening to everyone. Look how it's going. So that's one, if you can say that's a good thing, I think that's a really helpful thing for people when they're staring into the dark hole of fear about what they're going to say. It's not just you. And
it's becoming almost normal. It's becoming part of the fabric of that.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like you've got leprosy anymore.
No, exactly. But it is a scary thing. And speaking to the press generally is a scary thing, particularly for channel partners, and because they just find it intimidating, they find it difficult, and I really like to be able to help them with that, because it's what I do, and I really enjoy the industry. I think I was saying before, the problem is that a lot of MSPs are driven by entrepreneurs and people who are they're driven, they're ambitious, they want to make things work. But that is the first person that's going to really struggle if something like this happens, because it's like, oh my God, I've let everybody down. This is my company and I've got to take responsibility for this and I can't share it and it's all too much and that sort of thing. And I've seen that a few times. So, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah,
we're all like that.
And it's interesting because we've got Andy and Ally, and myself. I'm very much involved in the business as well. But Andy, you had a story to tell, which is, I don't know if you want to share it here, but I hope you can let us know a little bit. So tell us a little bit about what you went through.
So Christmas this year, we came back from our holidays and found all of our systems encrypted. And it was
this was a ransomware.
It was a ransomware attack. Yeah, basically. It was stressful. It was a complicated situation to navigate, and
but you have navigated it.
We have finally. Yeah, we're coming out the end of it. Literally got the last phone call, hopefully this week or next week, with the with all the lawyers, the cyber insurance, all that lot to kind of tie a bow on it now. But yes, it's
And
yeah,
tell
it's
me,
daunting.
how did that's nearly 4 months, 5 months, so how's that, how have you dealt with that? How is that impact?
Sorry, lots of drinking. No, I'm joking.
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 We can arrange that.
For the health insurance people, definitely not. But no, it's been a team effort. It's a team effort. It's a bit of a buzzword, but we've all pulled
You're
together.
about to sell yourself short here.
I know.
You've done a
That's what I
serious-
do.
You're a
That's what I
serious.
do.
You've done a serious amount of work on this.
We have. We locked down the hatches. We got the cyber insurance involved, got the lawyers involved, got PR. Not Gina's company, but another one.
And were you given the same information that Gina is sharing? Be honest.
Yes, mostly. The initial response from them was to basically shut up, don't say a thing.
This is the PR company.
No, this is the lawyers.
Okay.
The lawyers put a gag order on us straight away. Yeah, unfortunately, and that's not the way we do things. We're a very honest company. We're very honest people. We sell honestly, and we're very honest with our customers, and that keeps them, very, very together with us. We build
And why
relationships.
did they put this gag order? What was that all about?
Basically, whilst you're in negotiation with the threat actors, we couldn't say anything, we couldn't post anything, we couldn't call anyone, we couldn't even talk to anybody about it. So while the rumours were circulating, because there were a couple of little rumours in the wild, like you say, it builds its own story and narrative. We had to just, is that true? Oh, really?
Very frustrating for
it
you.
was, yeah. We
Awful.
just couldn't say a word. And the team were getting phone calls from the threat actor. We've got your data. We're going to release it. You better pay up. Kind of threatening behaviour.
Really?
Yeah.
Like the Wild
Seriously.
West.
And it's weird because it is a business now, and it is very much like they were saying in some of the presentations. They've got offices, they've got teams, they've got HR, they've got PR of their own, and this front guy. Was ringing up and being very, very threatening to our staff, and it's scary. And the staff were like, "What the hell are we doing with this?" Yeah. So we had to educate them and train them. We finally got a press pack from the lawyers about 48 hours after we literally wanted it, because it was New Year's and they target you right at the right time, don't they?
They do.
Bank holidays, New Year's. So we didn't literally get a press pack until the end of that Christmas week, when we came in on the Monday and things were, well, it wasn't Monday, that was Christmas. It was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah. Sorry, time has just all gone out the window on that point.
I suppose the point you're making here is they're professional bad guys.
Yes, they are.
They're not amateurs.
Not script kiddies anymore.
Yeah.
No, they are a business. So basically, the infiltrator came in, did his dirty, got the data out, encrypted us, and then he passed it over to Anubis.
It's almost like a production line for them. I'll do my bit, then I'll pass it down to the next person. It's a process.
Yeah, and I think the way that the cyber people said it was, they sell it onto the group then take it as a package, and then they extort the company, us, and because we're so much of a better target than a normal company, because we hold the keys to the kingdom, they thought they had a real chariot with us. Thankfully, they didn't. It was crap data, but yeah, it's
we're seeing something similar in the space now, where even something as simple as a sort of business email compromise, you're actually, what we've been doing is we've been actually backtracking and looking at the IP addresses, and you can actually see them passing it around the different groups. As they get to the end of their expertise, they move it to the next level, and so it has value, and it just keeps going. It's fascinating to actually see.
It's scary, it really is.
So, and Ali, you were mentioning that there was an incident that you were speaking about on stage, and you had that was more of a client based, but it was one that I'm just going to get a brief, actually, because we're all sharing stories. I think that's the most cathartic way we can do it.
Yeah, so one of our clients, it was initially the first time they were compromised, and that's what makes this different. Is most people think that once they've been compromised once, that's it, but it isn't really. You're actually on a list for future compromises, or they have what we call it in the as in the space now, persistence. So they make you think that you're actually clear, and they wait a certain period of time before they then start the process all over. But in the initial compromise, it was the classic ransomware encryption. But it wasn't very clear initially that that's actually what had happened. We got a call from the client to say, the servers are down. I'm like, okay, we'll take a look.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's something weird happening here. And until we actually came across the little text file that says, "You're mine now."
How did that I remember that day. That wasn't a very pleasant.
Very stressful day.
Yeah, the whole team remember that day. There's as we were saying in the chat, and I'm assuming this is not an age-related podcast.
Not at all.
But that moment is just very much a sphincter tightening moment where you're just like,
Yeah.
what was going on? They just, what is about to happen, and that's right across the team.
Yeah.
Everyone's sort of like, oh my God, and they're not sitting there going, oh, what's going to happen to our jobs? They're like, where is the blame for this going to lie? That's where everyone's looking at to see what actually.
And that was an interesting one. I probably want to bring Gina into this. Gina, here's two classic stories of companies who have, for all great intention, they're trying to drive great businesses. They are driving great businesses. Their intention's always good. But now they're in a situation where it's almost out of control, some of what they're dealing with. Ali, you made it, they called it the dies being already cast.
Yeah, so when you're in a crisis, your instincts go, what can I do, what can I do, what can I do, what can I do? But the reality is the die's already cast. All the decisions that led up to the crisis happening, I think the vendors, they call it before the boom. Mm-hmm. But it's like, what was in place, if they've bought the solutions that you've recommended, or the backups or things like that, that's going to dictate how this is going to fall out. Now you're on the slide. I don't know if you remember the slides. You used to get the safari parks back in the day where you'd be on the little thing and it'd go, it's a bit like that. And you're 2 years old and absolutely terrified and wonder why your parents have just chucked you down it. But the fact is, you've now just got to ride the wave. There's nothing you can do that is actually going to have a material outcome.
Yeah.
So Gina, you're a PR expert. You've heard these stories, and you said earlier it sort of changed some of you, humbled you, and what could you give some guidance to the audience, to these guys, about where they should have done? Or what could
well,
have
actually,
done?
I think you handled it really well. I would say so, because if you're in a position where you can't speak, you've been told by these lawyers you can't say anything, well, what does your PR person do with that? They go, well, when you can speak, we can do this, and which I'm sure you did. But I think where PR people, I'm speaking for myself now, but where I probably didn't realise was that is the problem. So it's not about really what you did wrong, what you did right. It's how can you move forward and who's stopping you and what you can do. When you can speak, going back to my same old little line about just don't be tempted to spin anything. To be completely honest.
Yeah. People can see actually, when you're being not speaking.
And I've said to journalists sometimes, what would you have them say right now? What would you have them say here? What do you want? Because they've told you what's happened and how they're trying to fix it as best they can. It's not as if this is an isolated incident. We've been as transparent as we possibly can. So I think when you are in the position where you are allowed to do something, then the PR machine should go into overdrive. So, there's a proper comms statement. There's one person that does all the comms. Don't be tempted to let other people do it. Just have one point of contact and get the PR agency to support that one contact and not leave them on their own.
And what would the PR agency, what kind of things would they do for them in that situation?
Because they'd advise them on what they should and shouldn't say. So
there would be a list of say this,
yes, say this,
don't say this.
Well, it's not so much don't say this, it's don't be drawn in to saying anything you don't need to say. You it's not your fault. You're taking responsibility. You're not taking the blame for this, right? You're just not, and nor should you. So prepare what happened, prepare the steps you're taking to rectify it, just talk honestly at that level and say, I can only keep you updated as I know more. I've told you as much as I can at this moment, and my PR person will be updating you every moment that we find something else out. there's nothing more I can say. And if they're pushing you, don't be tempted or get agitated to get drawn in. Same with on the socials, because I believe you had a really awful thing, LinkedIn, where some opportunist took the chance to have a pop at you to try and steal
somebody
business.
In the channel, somebody in our
another
own
MSP.
industry, another MSP.
Yeah, another MSP thought, I'll have a go here. Let me just put the boot in. And at that point, everybody's like,
yeah, we were angry about it.
I was like, and but the thing is, I would always say that on the socials specifically, do not engage. Just don't get involved. Even though it's so hard not to defend yourself, because if you give it air, then it gets legs, and then it goes on, and then it's backwards and forwards. We've all seen these things on Facebook where everybody's arguing with everybody else, but that stupid guy makes some ridiculous comment, and everybody's piling in. And I'm afraid LinkedIn's getting a bit more like that these days.
Well, there was a LinkedIn post that I saw Andy getting some really nasty abuse.
Terrible.
And it was from somebody who's in our industry. Those that live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, in my opinion.
It's utterly
and he
disgraceful.
drew in other people into that conversation as well, and they became even more vile with their comments and their feedback. And that was, there's not everything can be great news, but that to me was just an undertone. I was really impressed. You didn't rise to the bait.
It was close.
It's
really,
hard,
you
it's
felt
hard
it.
not
I was
to.
so angry about it.
Yeah.
I contacted the lawyers and I was like, these people, and they just went, look, calm down. You've got two choices, and we recommend choice number one, ignore it. Yeah. Don't give it legs, like you said. Just ignore it. Or number two, we can issue a statement. We can post on the post. We can link it. But the problem is, it will give it more attention than it's already got. It's barely got any attention now.
Yeah.
Don't give it. Don't feed it.
It's got these nasty people arguing amongst themselves over you. So if they can, they'll just argue themselves out, and then nothing will happen. And most decent people look at that and think, because your clients have been really supportive of you, haven't they?
Massively, seriously.
Joe, Dave, I've in that honesty.
That's definitely worth actually giving a shout out
Absolutely.
to.
Yeah, 100%.
How many clients did you lose, or do you think, and you're not even got proof that?
No, exactly. We've only had one leave, and they told us it wasn't because of that, and it was always on the cards, in fairness. So all the others have just been so supportive. I had even one talk to me, and he was like, look, it's happened. You've learnt your lesson. You know what's wrong. Just move on from it.
One thing I just could pull a little bit back. You mentioned on stage earlier that NG is a community.
Yeah.
Did you get any feedback from them?
Oh, massively, seriously, Christ. As I said on the stage, even a year and a bit ago, I didn't know if I was getting the value from the team. Just be honest. I'm always honest, and I seriously didn't know if I was.
Impression.
Thank you. No, it's all good. Yeah.
Tell the truth.
I didn't feel like we were getting value from the group, to be honest. And then the incident happened, and I put on the WhatsApp, help, and the feedback was just. I had Simon call me, I had you contact me, I had other members contact me. I find out from Mike today that it even in the background there was stuff going on that I didn't even know about. Like loads of members were messaging the board to see what they could do about it. There's a letter gone out to a certain vendor because of a certain thing that's happened.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. That's just.
See, this is why I love the channel, though, because I don't think that happens anywhere else.
No,
to be honest.
Seriously. If we hadn't got the NG, we would have been alone. We would have just been on an island, and we would have got through it, but not had this kind of almost. Well, we had this group around us, and then to do this as well, and stand on stage and tell my story. Yeah, it's almost cathartic.
And I'll be totally honest with all this. Back to honesty, I wanted to give you the airtime. So when I knew Gina was coming along, something around the content steering group, I said, let's get Andy on the stage.
I think it's
not
far
just
more
get Andy,
valuable.
let's get somebody else. And so, and Ally and I have gone through this together, and so we got the two of you. I think it's been a really good day today. Yeah. It's been really interesting. Honestly, you guys were absolutely on point today.
I think it was far more useful for having you guys to talk about how it happened to you and how you felt and how you dealt with it than anything I had to say, because it's the relief of people. It might be even sitting there holding stuff in today that we don't know about. Yeah. They're listening to you and thinking, oh, right, okay. Yeah, it's just like a pebble in a pond, isn't
I
it?
actually heard it today in the room without it being said. I could hear people in the room going, there go I, by the grace of God.
Yeah.
And there are people in the room who have gone through these incidents, but they've not actually cathartically come out and actually spoken. I know of 2 people in that room today who have had cyber attacks. They've just bottled it up. They haven't spoken about it. I'm going to be really fascinated to see, as we go in the weeks ahead, to see if people are actually willing to come out and share this now.
You know, we were talking before about the impact that financial controllers have on IT budgets, because they just look at it in one lump. So, you know, IT departments are competing with the coffee machine and the cars and every other, the stationery department. So utterly ridiculous. And that's another thing that you've got to contend with, isn't it? Because, you know, the budgets are getting squeezed and the FD's going, well, why are we spending on this?
Yeah, exactly.
And then they don't want to take responsibility when shit happens and everything goes wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I would push back on that a little bit, because, I mean, fundamentally that's the FD's job role,
Yeah, I
is to
guess
decide
so.
how the money is spent.
They never used to, as far as IT went, so much, did they?
Part of the challenge is, if you look at on the balance sheets of any company, IT is usually the 3rd or 4th item from a cost point of view. And I think in the industry, we've actually probably been our own worst enemy, because we just keep adding in more items because the client needs it, because the environment's shifting. But what we've effectively done is we've made security invisible.
Yeah.
And so they go, well, what am I getting for this?
Yeah.
And then it makes it really easy for other people to come in and say, we can do that for less. And so you've got that challenge going on, but the FD still has to make the decision. But IT spend is going up in general, because they're now like, all right, now we're needing to look at AI, or now we're needing to cut this cost or elsewhere. So we're just needing to be a little bit more, you know, that transparency and honesty that you were talking about, we need that to be out there in front of the client. So if we were going to do anything differently as a space, it'd be like, there's an email out to say we're doing maintenance. Do you do that? No. But they used to get that.
Yeah.
Right? Or, well, your machine needs patched or restarted. There's the email out to tell the entire team this is what's happening.
just do
Or
it.
we're doing updates or upgrades. We don't communicate
No, just do
anymore.
it.
And in fact, our engineers don't even tend to turn up on site anymore, because
just
that's
do it
too
remotely.
expensive.
Yeah.
Whereas actually they really want to see you
Yeah.
on. So we've almost moved ourselves into that position where we can be
Yeah, it's
doubted.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, don't you think that in the old days the CIO used to be more vocal and have more sway than they have so much now? Well, actually not now. I think maybe a couple of years ago when, you know, everything, budgets got shrunk and decisions were taking so much longer to be made. I mean, I had quite a few distributors and MSPs saying to me, God, it's taking so long now. Whereas before the CIO used to sign off on it and go to the financial guy and say, we have to have this because bad things are going to happen to us otherwise. And now what's happening is the FT's going, well, I don't care. We haven't got the money. Maybe now, though, with all this extra stuff that's coming on and AI, I mean, knows what's coming for us with that they are going to be probably forced into being realistic about the fact that they have got to increase the IT budget. Do you think that will?
Not until there's a whole lot of pain first.
You've got 2 types of companies. You've got the ones that have been there and the ones that haven't.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the ones that have been there 90% of the time will. The 10% are just idiots. Sorry.
Say it as it is.
Yeah,
Andy.
sorry.
Hold
I
back
could
how
give
you
you an
feel.
example of a London company we used to support, and they got hacked once, and then they didn't do anything about it. And then 6 months later, they had the same spear phishing attack, fell for it again, and they didn't do anything about it. Come on.
It's a horse to water or a camel to water, and they can't expect them to drink. My experience has been that only when there's pain do people do things.
Yeah.
And then you've got a very short window.
Yes.
There's a window
Yes.
post
Yeah.
when the dust is all settled.
And you're like,
And it
right.
might be 2 weeks to a month after.
Yeah.
And then from that month to 6 months, I would say you've got a window, because after that, it's all forgotten about. They're on to something else.
That's last year's budget.
That was last year's budget.
Oh, memory's short as well.
Memory's very short.
You know.
Yeah.
People
yeah.
forget.
I mean,
People
we-
don't care.
We've talked about comms from a PR point of view, but there are actually several stakeholders in this. depending on the size of the client, there'll be a board, there's the management, there's the staff, there's their insurance, there's their bank, or even the instant response partner that comes in to basically try and cast blame. So there's quite a lot of comms going on at the same time. But one thing that made a difference for us is we made good friends with the incident response team.
Yes.
So much so that when the final report came back, we were covered in praise.
Yeah.
Because we didn't try, again, back to your point about truth and honesty, we didn't try to hide anything. We didn't try to spin it or anything along those lines. It was so in the report. So we came out with glowing colours. And that was really important because the client could at that point have decided, this is your fault. Or put the blame on us, whether it was our fault or not. That was what we didn't really know was how it was going to sort of play out. So if any listeners are involved in it, make sure if you're dealing with the incident response, get them whatever they need as quickly as possible. Because as we said before, the dice have already been thrown. It's, there's no hiding anything. You can't. It's not like you can alter log files or anything like that. It's all there, and they'll find it. So you've just got to roll with it.
Don't be the block.
Don't be the blocker.
Yeah.
And if the client's trying to gag you, push back on that because it's not going to be good for them either.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, so I'll go on to that as well because so this particular client they'd been compromised twice, and the difference between their response the first time round and the second time round was chalk and cheese. The first time it was like you say a gagging order. You're not allowed to talk to anyone. So much to the point that when their team was actually phoning up about problems that they were now having, we weren't allowed to tell them that there'd been a cyber attack. So, and then after 24 hours, we actually had the chairman of the board demanding that we actually get removed, so that because we obviously couldn't fix the problem, because they hadn't even told the board yet that this is what had actually been going on. So there's more than one area in the mix of what you can and can't do, and so there's an idea of what the perfect world would look like. But the reality is it's way murkier than that. But the second time, all over it, and to the point where you actually saw their own team, there several hundred staff members rallying around to support their company because it had been attacked. Someone had the nastiness to actually attack them, and it was so different. But you can never know that how you're going to respond. I mean, you know what it's like because your own company's been hit. But I don't actually know how I would respond. I'm not sure I'd be that control or calm.
It was difficult.
Do you use this experience to sort of as a cautionary tale to your own customers?
Not at the moment, but it will probably go into the mix at some point. Yes. It's too early at the moment, but yes.
Bit too raw.
Yeah.
I wanted to say a big thank you to yourself and to Ally for being on stage because it was cathartic.
It's great.
Gina,
Really was.
Thank you very much for pulling these conversations out. It was really appreciated.
Well, I think I've learnt loads today, so thank you.
Thanks. So that's us. We've going to wrap up our session today. It's been a fantastic episode. I want to say a big thank you to Andy, Gina, and Ally. If the audience want to get in contact with you, Gina, how could they get in contact with you?
I think the easiest thing is to look me up on LinkedIn. So it's Gina is spelled Gina, and Hough is spelled very unusually Hough. I make that point because if you went and typed in Gina Hough onto LinkedIn, you'd probably type Huff. Most people do.
Perfect. And yourself, Andy?
Yeah, again, LinkedIn would be perfect. Andy Hickman, Ashby Computers,
Thank you.
I'm on there.
And Ally?
I'm happy to chat, LinkedIn, Tinder, whatever.
I've seen you before.
Fair enough.
Don't let my wife see that last bit,
We'll do our bit. Well, that's us. Thanks very much. If you've enjoyed this conversation, please hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, or leave a like. We'd love to build this audience, and I can only do it with your assistance. That's us. We're finished here. Thank you very much. Great conversation. This is us signing off from Glasgow. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Bye.